I didn't think I'd be doing a 49ers update from the long-term parking lot at the San Jose airport, but here we are with good news on Brock Purdy and Dre Greenlaw. I just landed, direct flight from Green Bay. Kyle Shanahan's conference call happened just as we were descending into the rainy Bay Area. Brock Purdy did throw today, a light throwing session, and it went well. No issues for Brock Purdy, unlike the last throwing session on Thursday, which was at the start of practice for San Francisco. It did not go well. He felt some discomfort in his shoulder, and he had to shut it down. So with Purdy, if he ramps it up successfully this week, things are going to be in a good spot for the 49ers for potentially seeing him return against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday. Dre Greenlaw, his practice window is now open. Greenlaw tore his Achilles in the Super Bowl. It seems that everything went south from that point onward for the 49ers, not just in the Super Bowl, but also over the course of the past several difficult months. Well, he's going to be back out on the practice field Wednesday. We'll see how Dre Greenlaw ramps up. The 49ers have obviously been missing his physicality. They missed 19 tackles, the most ever tracked by PFF, and PFF has been tracking this since 2006. So maybe Dre Greenlaw will be back at some point this December. I wouldn't expect them back immediately. They obviously have 3 weeks to activate Dre Greenlaw from the date that his practice window officially opens, which probably won't be until Wednesday, right before practice. Speaking of practice windows, the one for Jon Feliciano has closed. The 49ers offensive lineman saw the window open 3 weeks ago following a knee surgery, but according to Kyle Shanahan, his knee did not respond the way the 49ers wanted it to, and Jon Feliciano, unfortunately, is going to be shut down for the entire season. And it's too bad because Dominic Purdy, the 49ers rookie starting right guard, has to undergo an MRI for his shoulder, and Aaron Banks, the 49ers starting left guard, is in the concussion protocol. Meanwhile, Jake Brendel has really been struggling at center. There's so many clips from yesterday of Brendel and Aaron Banks not executing the way the 49ers needed them to execute in terms of run blocking. That really hurt Christian McCaffrey in this game yesterday. He only averaged 3.1 yards per carry. And obviously there were 3 first-half penalties on Dominic Purdy, who's otherwise been good this season. Can't bunch Purdy in there with Brendel and Aaron Banks, but the 49ers, given the injury situation, given some of those struggles along the interior offensive line, could have really used Jon Feliciano, but his knee did not respond well, and this might be it for Jon Feliciano. He tweeted that it might be it. He implied on Twitter entering this season when he re-signed with the 49ers that this was going to be the last ride. I don't know if his thinking is going to change now that he didn't see a single game during what was supposed to be his last season, but obviously a tough break for both Jon Feliciano and the 49ers. Other news, Nick Bosa and Trent Williams will both be evaluated later this week. We'll see if they're able to play against the Buffalo Bills in the game on Sunday, where the 49ers are 6.5-point underdogs. Deommodore Lenoir has to undergo an MRI on his knee. So does Demetrius Flanagan-Foles, the 49ers linebacker. Joining Aaron Banks in the concussion protocol, Jordan Elliott, defensive tackle, had to exit the game yesterday for the 49ers. That did hurt the run defense in one of the worst 49ers run defense performances that we've seen in a while. Renardo Green dealing with a neck injury. Rookie cornerback had, I thought, his worst game for San Francisco yesterday. They do have a shot to finally return Kevin Givens from his groin injury. Givens has been out for so long that he could have just been on IR. But unfortunately for the 49ers, they didn't anticipate that the groin injury would keep him out this long. But Shanahan did say that there is a chance for Kevin Givens to return this week. Meanwhile, Charvarius Ward, he's progressing, especially with Renardo Green hurt and with Deommodore Lenoir needing an MRI. It'll be good for the 49ers to get Charvarius Ward back, and I would predict that happens this week. He's had a few practices now, and he'll have a few more before the 49ers play Buffalo to get his wind back after he missed about 2 or 3 weeks on bereavement leave. So Ward's return, welcome for the 49ers as they continue to slog and continue to fight through this season of torture. I've got Kyle Shanahan's conference call for you here right now.
All right, guys, injuries from the game. Aaron Banks will be in the concussion protocol. Jordan Elliott also in the concussion protocol. Renardo Green hurt his neck. He's going to be day-to-day. Flanagan Fowles, knee, he'll also be day-to-day. And then Purdy had a shoulder. We're still waiting for the MRI to get back, so still being evaluated on that. Same situation with Demo, who banged knees in the game. We're still waiting on his MRI to get back to. That's it from guys from the game. Go ahead.
What about Brock Purdy? Did he do any throwing today, or will he do any? And what's the plan for him early this week?
Yeah, he did some light throwing today, and it went all good. He had, we didn't push it that hard, but did some light throwing, which was a good sign that the pain hadn't come back, and we'll rest it tomorrow and see how he feels as the week goes.
It was reported over the weekend by Jay Glazer that Brock Purdy had a second MRI on his shoulder. Is that true? And if so, why a second one?
Because yes, it's true. I mean, most guys we always get more than one. When you get one and it seems all right, then you have some pain later in the week, so you get another one to make sure you didn't miss anything. And so that's what he did, I think, after the Thursday practice.
What is the nature of his injury?
The shoulder.
Kyle, will you be making a move with Jon Feliciano today?
Yeah, John's going to stay on IR. He hasn't responded the right way, so unfortunately for John and us, but just had a talk with him here a little bit ago, and he's going to have to stay on IR.
Kyle, you talked yesterday. Go ahead.
Kyle, were there issues with the splitting yesterday? I mean, Jake Moody from the start of the game slipped on that first kickoff. Were there issues with that was causing some of the missed tackles and whatnot?
Yeah, there was definitely issues with the footing. It happened to our quarterback on a number of plays, but it happened to a bunch of guys throughout the game, and guys were fixing their cleats. Some did in pregame, some did it right into the game, but that's an issue at Lambeau that time of the year.
You talked yesterday about your frustration over the penalties after watching the film, the video. How can you go about fixing that? Obviously, you still want players to play aggressive, but as you've noted several times, the penalties are really hurting you guys.
Yeah, you look at each penalty, and the ones that you can correct, you correct. Going back to, I think on the second play of the game for offense, Purdy went a little bit early, and that's something he's just got to have better patience with. Changing the cadences are always subtly different when you change quarterbacks, but it's something we harped on hard, especially Thursday and Friday once we realized what was happening. And that got us there. The false start that they called on Jake later in the game, we had been doing it that way all year, so we didn't see anything wrong with this. We're going to have to check with the league on that because he didn't move or anything. They just said he snapped it too early, so some disagreements there. A couple of the holding calls, especially on the long kick return, didn't totally see it the same way, but the other two I did, and we got to be better with that. So, the timing of those penalties, and we didn't overcome either. I think on one drive we overcame the 3rd and 1 penalty, and other times we didn't. So the pre-snap ones we got to be much better at. Those are the ones we can avoid, but a couple of those I got to get talk to the league on.
Hey, Kyle, to clarify, the assumption is that Brock would be available to play against Buffalo if he doesn't have pain this week, and if not, then Brandon Allen would start?
Yeah, to clarify, guys, the Brock shoulder, it's exactly what I've worded to you guys every time. We got the MRI last week. His shoulder was bothering him. We thought it would be all right by Thursday, and it hurt worse Thursday than it did earlier in the week. So we rested it throughout the weekend, hoping that would help. He threw lighter today to see if that rest helped, and the rest did help him. So we'll see again, going through the same things we did last week. We're going to let him rest all the way up to Wednesday. We'll see how it feels on Wednesday, and then we'll take the exact same course throughout the week, and hopefully it responds better this week than it did last week with the rest.
Kyle, with these back-to-back long trips and Thanksgiving this week, kind of what will this week look like in terms of practice and workload, et cetera?
Not much different. I mean, I start a little bit earlier on Thanksgiving. We start earlier so I can get the guys, so guys' families don't have to wait as long for them to get home. my family gets very annoyed with me because I get home pretty late for Thanksgiving, so it ends up being a later dinner. But for the coaches and stuff. But we try to move everything up, get going earlier, so the guys can get out, have a Thanksgiving, and then the next day we'll start a little bit earlier to catch up on stuff we didn't finish with the film, and then we'll be on our way to Buffalo.
With the long flights, is there anything you have to do differently in terms of treatment, just in having the two back-to-back?
Always when you go on flights, you just, inflammation and stuff like that reacts differently. So those are things we put in a ton of account into. But as far as us just changing things up, we're not going to do that because of the long flights. We got some injuries and stuff we got to deal with this week, so we'll see how our team is on Wednesday and everything as far as reps and stuff. But I'm not going to change anything up just because of the duration of the Buffalo flight.
Are you planning to open the window for Dre Greenlaw this week, or where does that stand?
Yeah, Dre should. We are going to open it this week. He should be able to start practicing on Wednesday.
Kyle, have you had a chance to talk to Nick Bosa and Trent Williams, and how are they doing?
They're in the same boat Brock is, really. We have the MRIs and everything. We kind of understand it, but just waiting to see how they respond. They didn't respond great last week. That's why they weren't able to go. Nick and Trent are both in the same boat. Nick with his hip and oblique, and Trent with his ankle. And we'll evaluate as this week progresses, and hopefully it turns a better corner than it did last week.
Now, after seeing the film, how do you view the way Brandon played at quarterback? And if Brock can't go, is he definitely the starter then in Buffalo?
Yes, unless something crazy happened during the week. But I thought Brandon did some real good things. He had one real bad decision at the beginning of the game early, where he threw it to number 7. Unfortunately, that guy dropped it. But I thought he made some big plays in the game that gave us a chance to get back into it. Him going across the board and getting that touchdown to Kittle. He had a couple big third downs. I thought he had a hell of a throw on the one that Debo tipped and ended up being intercepted. I think his two toughest plays were the keeper on 2nd and 7, where he slipped right before he threw it. I think the next play was that pick. But what he does have to do better is protect the ball in the pocket. The ball was on the ground too much.
Kyle, what are you seeing from Fred Warner? Do you think he's just pressing? It looks like he's missing the plays that he's been making consistently over the last few years. How would you evaluate his play during the last couple of weeks?
I still think Fred's the man. I think Fred's playing at a high level. I know he had more missed tackles than he's had. I think he had, 4, which is too much for anyone, way too much for him. So obviously he can do better in that way, but Fred's still playing like one of the best linebackers in the league. So I know he's got a real high standard. So when he has something like that, it's going to stick out. But Fred's still playing like one of the best players in this league.
Kyle, the defense had 19 missed tackles overall. Where's the disconnect between the coaching and what they're able to do on the field?
I wouldn't say there's a disconnect. I would say, especially in that first half, they got some guys in space, and we sat in a chair a little too much versus that running back. And when you come to a jump stop on that running back, he is going to break your ankles. And he did it to a number of guys. It always helps if you can get 2 people there, but when we had one person there, he did as good as I've seen anyone make someone miss tackles in the way he ran. That we did better there in the second half. I think we ended up counting 12, so I know PFF has different numbers than we do, but it doesn't matter. 12 is still way too many also. I thought we tightened it up there in the second half and tackled better, and got him in some third downs and got off the field, which I thought gave us every chance to get back in the game. And then that was really tough to do when we led 3 drives in a row with 3 turnovers in a row. So that's really what killed us.
Kyle,
what's it going to take to get Debo going? It's been a few weeks now, and he is struggling from scrimmage, struggling in the receiving. Does he have the burst that he needs?
I think he has the burst that he needs. He didn't get a lot of opportunities last night. He had a pretty good kick return that I thought would have changed the huge momentum of the game. Unfortunately, got called back with that holding call. I thought he had a good screen. And then the 2 plays he's got to do, he's got to catch both of those balls. And if he catches both of those balls, he's got a chance to do what he's good at after that. And and catch both those balls. So if he does, then that would be 2 more opportunities. And as far as anyone, I mean, we didn't get anybody going in that game. There was, we weren't consistent, and we didn't participate very much in the first half, and in the second half, with those turnovers and everything, just killing our drives. And I think we had a total of 50-something plays, but we really weren't able to stay out there consistently enough to get any player going.
A couple more.
Kyle, Fred after the game said that there were run looks that they weren't prepared for. Is it more Josh Jacobs and his ability, or is it just purely not being ready for what they were dishing out?
No, I mean, you're going to see different formations and different run looks every game. When you do see that, you can't get out of your gaps. And there was a couple times that we had guys get out of the gaps. I'd say on the second play of the game, they got a long one. They caught us just in a blitz. We were doing a blitz, and when you blitz and they run the ball and you can get someone out of a gap, you're going to get 15 yards like that right up to the deep safety. After that, a couple looks that they had, we had guys overrun it. They cut out our DN, and there's not a guy in the gap, which leads to an explosive. And we had too many of those in the first half, without a doubt. And when you give a back like that kind of space and they're getting 10 yards before contact, he's usually going to make that one guy left look pretty bad, and that's what we had way too many of.
Apologies if you mentioned him. Is Jacob Cowling still in the concussion protocol?
Yeah, just hit you guys up with all guys not from the game. Yeah, Jacob's still in the protocol. Kevin Givens with his groin he's got a possible chance to get back into practice this week. Hopefully he can get back Wednesday and see how he reacts. And then I mentioned everyone else. That's about it, though.
How do you? Can I ask one more?
Charvarius. Sorry, is Charvarius? Is he going to practice in full this week?
Yes. That's the plan. He got a lot of work in last week. He just did most of it with the scout team and stuff, and seems to be good spirits. And hopefully he'll come out there Wednesday, and we'll see how it goes. It's not something I'm pushing him on hard and trying to go at his speed. And but I know how he talked last week and everything, and hopefully he'll be able to take another step forward with that this week. Is there another one?
How do you feel about sort of the big picture playoff race, and to be at 5-6 at this point? How sort of urgent, desperate? I mean, do you view every game now as sort of must win to keep your chances alive?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think everyone knows. You just got to look at it for a couple minutes to realize where we're at. It's nice when you're one game out of first in your own division. So that does say a lot. Especially being able to play 2 of those teams left of our 6 games. But you also know, you look at the whole NFC picture, and if you don't win the division, it's 10-7 is not guaranteed to get in as a wild card by any means this year. So I think everyone understands completely, outside and inside, what the situation is. That's why that Seattle game was so tough of a loss, and that's why last night was even worse. We know what we got ahead of us. We know exactly what that playoff situation is. That is what it is, but really all that matters is this week. When you do need to go on a run and put a lot of wins to even think of that, then you better make sure you're only thinking of one thing, and that's Buffalo. And so we've had to take care of a lot of stuff today. Hoping the guys will take care of their body stuff here over the day and a half they're away from us, and we'll come back Wednesday fully understanding the situation we're in and coming back ready to fight. That's all we can do right now is just fight our asses off, and I'll be very surprised that not every guy in this building, when I see them Wednesday, isn't ready for that exact mindset that we're going to need to pull off what